Hi, I'm Jacqueline from Young Dragonslayers, and this is wholesome, funny D&D stories. Players from all across the internet love to share a funny D&D story. We know because we are among them. There's nothing that feels quite like getting to share awesome, silly moments from your D&D campaign, epic D&D stories of natural 20s, plans gone wrong, or times a player stumped the dungeon master. We've been running games at Young Dragonslayers for 5 years now, and we've got the zaniest, most creative players in the world. Tweens and teens. So sit back, relax, and enjoy these absolutely hilarious but delightfully wholesome D&D stories from our campaigns. Here's a wild D&D story from one of our very first games. Back in 2020, Katie was a therapist for young clients who, like all of us, were struggling to stay sane while staying at home. Hoping to use the power of Dungeons & Dragons to build young clients' social connections and lift their spirits, Katie pulled in 2 actors and dungeon masters, Ian and Zachary, to run games of D&D. In one of Dungeon Master Zach's first games, back when we had pre-generated characters and pre-written modules, a group of players were confronted by a flaming windmill. An enterprising wizard cast conjure woodland beings to summon 8 beavers. They then commanded these beavers to chew through the windmill's rudder. According to the roll of the dice, the results were mixed, so Zach made a decision. Their gambit worked and they saved the day, but one beaver had to sacrifice itself. And so the players narrated the most gut-wrenching tale of the glory of Poopa-Stinka and his final sacrifice, giving him a proper funeral that took half the session, but was more fun than we could have ever planned. Here's a funny D&D story that comes with bespoke art. When I was out with the stomach flu and couldn't run my campaign, Dungeon Master Sergio stepped in to run a one-shot for my tween players. In it, the party was asked to find a stolen amulet. Along the way, they encountered, by their description, a psychopathic serial killer cheese-eating pigman. He just wanted to turn people into cheese and eat them. But the main villain was even worse, a super-dimensional rat bored of his normal rat brethren who would only respond to the word cheese. What could our party do to stop him? Summon a biblically accurate angel, of course. This epic D&D story comes from X-Crawl. This world mashes up live streaming, extreme sports, and Dungeons & Dragons. In it, teams of fantasy adventurers compete in reality show dungeons, streamed live for enraptured audiences. The challenges are built by dungeon judges who craft mind-melding puzzles, magical traps, and, of course, terrifying monsters. The winners of extreme dungeon crawling become super influencers with money and power that thousands dream of. But, as the case with many of the dystopia, DM Jesse's party discovered that there was more to this popular entertainment than met the eye. They uncovered the corrupt system behind the games and decided to team up and stop it. But they needed help. Enter the Wasp Worm, a mighty dragon who breathes swarms of hornets. Originally intended to be a monster for these adventurers to fight, she became friends with the party, who worked with her to take down the baddies. This wholesome D&D story bleeds from the game world into real life. At the end of each of Dungeon Master Olivia's sessions, she has her players vote on who she should give inspiration to, based on who was the funniest, who had the most impactful moment, who did the coolest thing, etc., etc. While voting, players can leave comments to share why they think a certain player deserves inspiration. We gotta admit, this is a great idea. Olivia even has it so the winner of one week sits out on the next week's vote so that everyone has a chance to be cheered on. But recently, one player's pet lizard, Bubby, has joined the game as the familiar, and the elections have been totally upended. Bubby has been the landslide winner, coming in first every week he is allowed to be nominated. What an adorable end to democracy. This Dungeons & Dragons story features a zany creature indeed. It's called the Flavor Drake, an invention of Dungeon Master Jesse. This tiny dragon has a breath weapon that vastly improves the flavor of any food. Turns out a mysterious individual was attempting to kidnap this adorable creature and the party was on the case. They followed some leads to a crime lord known as the Baker and her goons, the Baker's Dozen, and broke into a residence in search of evidence to confirm she was indeed after the flavor drake. As they were rifling through her stuff, the Baker came back. One quick-thinking and high-rolling player had an idea. She cast the spell Disguise Self to resemble the Baker. She then asked Jessie if she could convince the town guards that she was the real one and the Baker currently entering the residence was an imposter. The result was a natural 20. Dungeons & Dragons is filled with funny moments, epic adventures, and wholesome shenanigans. And we're pretty lucky. We get to witness moments like this every single week. Our online D&D groups of awesome geek-minded tweens and tweens come up with hijinks we never could have anticipated. If you're looking for a safe, fun place where you can go on D&D adventures with other players your age, why not try our games? You've already seen that they're a ton of fun, but they also meet regularly, are safely monitored by professional dungeon masters who work with young people, and feature groups that are put together based on age, playstyle, and game preference. Which means we set you up for success, even if the dice don't. Thanks for watching and enjoy the chaos. Links are in the description.